What's going on, guys? It is T90 Official, and welcome to a very special YouTube video. It's not often that you see these players play in 1v1s. Normally you see these people in community games and whatnot. But recently, two of my moderators and two of my longtime supporters, Snippy and Algernon, played a best of 21 against each other, and I figured this would be a great game to cast for YouTube. Before we get underway here, this is a Regicide Fortress game, so we have a bit of time until the action actually begins. I just want to get a few things out of the way. I promise I will not advertise things every single YouTube video like it might have seemed like recently just because of the 24-hour stream. But to let you guys know, because this will be uploaded right before the 24-hour stream on Twitch, I will be live on Twitch for 24 hours. I'll be giving away Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition keys at multiple times throughout the stream. Max and Harrow will be playing in a big show match, which is a best of 7 for $1,000. Huang and Metal will be playing. My brother will be joining. He's the big noob. What else do we have there? Well, community games, of course. And Dave will be here with Tato. And you know what? I have 24 hours. There will be a lot of content, all right? So if you're not the type of person who normally stops by a stream or someone who normally doesn't have time, that might be a good time to at least stop by and just say hello. So to the actual game here. By the way, there might be a few bits of audio that's not getting picked up. I'm not sure why. Let me see if possibly I can fix this. Like, now you can hear the lumberjacks, right? No, we can't hear the lumberjacks. Capture Age gave me some problems earlier. We're going to stick with Capture Age, but if you don't hear some of the chopping of the wood, I apologize. Maybe they're saving that for Force Nothing. But this was maybe game 11 or 12 in their best of 21, and it was a team random mirror matchup on Regicide Fortress, and they both ended up getting, they ended up getting melee. Obviously, they would both get melee. So here's Algernon. He's in the red, and he's stonewalled in. He has a castle. He has towers, just like Snippy does. And then Snippy is in the blue, as Snippy is also playing as the melee. Now, if there's anything you need to know about Snippy, if you've never heard of the guy or seen him play, he likes to king snipe. And most of the other maps were not Regicide maps, so he didn't have the opportunity to snipe kings. But this was the only Regicide Fortress game they had in their best of 21, and wouldn't you know it, it ended up getting to YouTube. So I think Algernon is probably the better player between the two of them, because Algernon tends to, I guess the best way to explain Algernon is he probably is more of a boomer, probably plays a little bit more standard, a little bit more like pros do. I think he's going to lose a bill right after I say that. Yep, a little bit more like pros do. Algernon loses a villager to the boar. But anyways, Snippy, he's aggressive and he likes to snipe those kings. So it's going to be interesting for you guys. I think perhaps this will be more relatable for you, because we see the pros and how much they're able to do all the time, but we don't see these community game players get to play standard settings very often. Now, melee advanced 80% faster to the next stage, as Snippy clicked up to Feudal Age before Algernon even thought about it. So he's in Feudal Age pretty quickly. He doesn't have the resources just yet to hit Castle Age, but he's up there. A Regicide Fortress is normally a map that has to do with build orders. So I'll be curious to see what these guys are able to do, because the 80% faster uptime really can confuse you. And if for some reason you're new to all of this and you've never heard of Regicide Fortress, this is a classic tournament map, so this is something that pros have done for a long, long time. It's also the standard version of it. So normally there's not water here in big tournaments, but they're doing a standard version. Now there's no fish, but maybe if kings want to hide there later on, if king snipes do indeed happen, I won't spoil if it will or not, that would be a place to go. But here's Algernon's king. It's a great idea to scout with your king. Obviously, you need to avoid your opponent's walls, because there is a castle near them sometimes, and the towers. But kings are very fast. They have a lot of line of sight. So Algernon was doing that for a little bit. You see Snippy here. Snippy is, he's on the move with his scout, but I think his king is safe at home in the castle. Now, I really hope that this goes to YouTube flawlessly, because I was recording so much stuff for YouTube one day, I actually ran out of space on my recording PC. So, like, for you guys, it's not going to matter that much. I'd already seen the game before I casted it the first time. This is actually the second time I'm casting the same thing. So as we wait, I really hope I don't have to cast it again. Trust me, it's a great game. But it's hard to act like you've seen things for the first time when you've seen the recorded game. and you're trying to hype it up because you kind of know what's coming, and then you've casted the game as well. But trust me, it won't hurt the experience for you all. I think that, as Algernon says fast in the chat. He sees how fast Snippy is to the next stage. Okay, this is where they hit dropped. I just need to hop into the next game. You know the rules. Don't look at my... Or not the next game, the next part. Don't look at my recorded games, chat. Okay, now we're in the game. Sorry, they told me there was a drop. And, totally forget what I was talking about before that drop. Now we've restored it. But Algernon was commenting just how surprised he was, I guess, that Snippy was able to hit the castle age that fast. And to be honest, that's a pretty strong build from him. I'm kind of surprised as well. In community games, he doesn't like this second and third town center approach. What he tends to do is make archery ranges and petards. But no sign of petards for him. A second town center's on the way up. This is pretty strong stuff from him. Algernon now reaches the castle age. They have the same amount of villagers. As Snippy reacts and says, boo! I really wonder why Algernon went to stone like this. Just to criticize the guy a little bit. There's really no reason to have 400 plus stone at this stage of the game. I think he could have saved the 100 wood with the mining camp. Sent the villagers to chop wood instead. Now, there's the second TC, but I do think he'll struggle to get on multiple TCs because he's collecting stone. He might need that defense against Snippy, of course. Now there's 3 relics down here. This is interesting. A relic here, here, and here. I don't know if they're the type that would get all 5 relics, because this is what I would consider mid-level. It takes a lot of focus and takes a lot of skill to boom and get relics and do everything the pros do. Sorry if this is a bit silent. I mean, I have not recorded anything on my PC for a week and a half. I've been busy. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just not used to it myself, but it does seem a little bit quieter than normal. Also have a small cold, which is going to make matters very, very fun during a 24-hour stream. But okay, Algernon has built an outpost here, and he's building an outpost here. Maybe he doesn't want to be surprised by the Snipster, who's known for his sniping. Scouted the front of Snippy's base, has not seen anything out of the ordinary. Snippy is slightly ahead in economy by 2 villagers as we speak. But I expect this to even out, and I expect this to be very close. I think it was Philster, actually, who you guys might know from community games, who had the idea to sponsor a best of... Actually, I don't know if he sponsored anything, but he wanted them to do a best of 21. And here we have it. Now, funny enough, they're both my moderators as well, so I could give them a hard time. Then turn around and go, whoosh, crack that moderator whip. Nah, it's alright. These guys, all my mods are volunteers. They're very, very nice guys. I don't know where I would be without people like Algernon and Snippy. There are many other names to mention that have helped me along the way with streaming and YouTube. Algernon and Snippy have both created a lot of maps for community games. Okay, so just 2 town centers for Snippy. Town center here and here. And then it is still 2 town centers for Algernon as well. Though this looks like a 3rd TC. Okay, he's placing it over here. It's not bad. Again, my only criticism is that he went to stone. He hasn't really benefited from having all that stone in the bank. That's the only thing I'm critical of right now. But the scouting seems decent. Actually, this is really good scouting. Scout seems to be active most times. The TC's in a good location because he needs another wood line. Also protects that side of his base. And there's the monastery now to get some relics, and he does see all 5 of them. Solid stuff. What about Snippy? Snippy, also decent scouting. I see a university for him, which is a really weird choice. And he's gone to stone late. Now, this would be the time, if you wanted to go aggressive with a forward castle, maybe this is when you send villagers to stone. I guess Algernon's approach, it just didn't make sense at the time, but maybe he'll save that. He doesn't have near as many on stone. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about the sniffles. But 49 villagers, 50 villagers for both of them. This is really close stuff. I will say that Snippy doesn't have the second farm upgrade, but that's really not a big deal at this stage of the game. And Snippy is banking up a lot more resources. Now, it would be just like Snippy to be aggressive. It would be just like him to not let this go to late game. And I can see why he wouldn't want to go all in 1 TC to attack Algernon's king, because you start with so much in Fortress. You start with stone walls, you start with towers, then you have the castle, then there would be TCs for Algernon, so it's not like Snippy can easily surprise him. Now Snippy's running around with the scout now. He sees the outpost, he does not see the monk. If Algernon wants to turn around to convert that scout, he could do so. At the moment, it is 0 relics for both players, and here comes Snippy. Will Algernon go for it? He goes for it. Snippy has to decide to run, and I was going to say run or try and attack the monk. Attacking the monk certainly wasn't an option, and he loses his scout. Now, that's quite a big deal, because now Algernon has an extra scout. That was great awareness from him. He could just patrol this bad boy on the sides, protect the relics, and Snippy won't be able to snag them. But Snippy's not so interested in going for that late game approach, the relic approach. He's dropped off gold. He didn't drop off wood with all of his villagers, but he doesn't care, guys. You know what's coming, YouTube. You know what Snippy likes to do. He likes to snipe kings. So he's not messing around either. He'll send over 10 villagers forward. It looks like 13 villagers will come forward for him. And he'll run past the wolf. He doesn't care. He's even getting scale mail armor. So a few karambits on the way out from the castle that he has. He sees that hill. His scout was just there. And he is on his way. Now with the faster imp, that could mean faster trebuchets. And that could mean a faster victory for him. Algernon has 1 relic. And it will be 2 soon. Could be 3, could be 4. It could be all 5, actually. And Algernon now has a scout here. This is the scout that he converted, I believe. And Algernon's placing his own castle. This is beautiful. So far, they played pretty standard. But all the community game fun is coming out in this game now. Algernon's building a castle to protect the gold. And Snippy has sent so many villagers forward to build his own castle. 65% on Algernon's castle. It is 65% for Snippy's castle, and he has a few more villagers. A great conversion from Algernon, by the way, to convert the karambits. But both castles will go up. Snippy's castle goes up, Algernon's castle goes up. The difference here is that Snippy is at Algernon's base. Also, Snippy is having he's having some villager problems now. Only 58 villagers. That's what happens when you have 2 town centers and 1 TC clicks up to Imperial Age so early. Now, many people might think, okay, T90, Snippy, he can make trebuchets because Snippy is in the Imperial Age. Well, Snippy doesn't care about trebuchets. He wants the faster option, and this might even be the correct option. He is making petards. Beautiful, and so is Algernon. Now, in Algernon's position, it makes a lot more sense because he cannot make trebs, so he needs to kill Snippy's castle as quickly as possible. But petards from both of them, it's beautiful. And YouTube, this is where everything starts to fall apart for them. This is where the pro players we cast normally really separate themselves from players like Snippy and Algernon because the multitasking just gets too insane. The Snippy is even sending forward petards. He's not playing games. He tries to go for the sneaky gate here in front of his castle. He is from Norway. That's something that Viper would do, but it won't accomplish much for him. Now Algernon is in the Imperial Age. They both have petards. If you look to the bottom right, it is 8 petards for Snippy. He has 5 queued up. It is 4 petards for Algernon. He has 3 queued up. So producing petards from the home castle actually could make the difference. Algernon has the relics. He has 3 relics. He has 20 more villagers. But Snippy is the aggressive player here. And oh my god! Algernon! Well, I don't think he has enough. No, he does not have enough petards. He's freaking out. And now his villagers are underneath this castle. I think Algernon is just panicking. The Snipster is right next to him with some castles. And he's freaking out. What does he do from here? He doesn't know. The petards come out from Snippy. And Snippy does have enough petards. He will kill that castle. And now these villagers are just stranded here. Algernon's making rams to ram down this castle foundation. Is Snippy going to use the petard? He used the petards versus the ram. And all of a sudden, Algernon realizes, oh shoot, there will be 2 castles on the front. Snippy's still making petards. And this is Snippy's specialty, right? Now, after all of this, Algernon will still have the villager lead. Snippy will still have more forward villagers than he would like, so efficiency is going to be tough for him. And he doesn't really have enough to snipe Algernon because Algernon's king is in this tower, which is a great decision, by the way, because the last thing you want is to accidentally send your king forward out of that castle. Wow. Well, this is another monk with a relic. There's a scout protecting this relic. Algernon's... he's doing the correct things, in my opinion. But he has 1,000 food and he has 600 gold. He needs to get some military out, and he's been making arbalest. Now, Snippy, his castles are protecting his trebs, but a few pikemen, which he might be making, a few karambits, that's not enough to push forward. Now, that trebuchet, which is hidden between the castles, will kill the siege workshop, but he can't push much further now. The lack of eco is an obvious struggle for him. And this is what's so cool, because, again, in a pro game, the fight would be here. If Snippy loses the fight, then he has to back up and Algernon pushes the center. But Algernon's not pushing the center because, well, I don't know why, actually. He could have made some trebs, but it's just mid-level problems. He gets to do what pro players don't do and go for some cheeky counterattack, or he sends his arbalest forward and now villagers forward to make the siege workshops. So I feel like as a caster, it's so easy to judge. It's so easy for me to say that Algernon probably should have made some trebs, probably could have made some bombard cannons, and pushed this back. But when you're in a game, and those at home probably know this, it's so difficult to execute and think about what you should be doing. I mean, Algernon is just now getting fletching, which is the very first upgrade he'll get for his arbalest. So Algernon is housed at the moment. He's lost some TCs, he lost the castle earlier, he doesn't have pop space, and he's panicking. He's freaking out. He knows Snippy's reputation. He probably doesn't love the fact that the monastery, which has the relics inside of it, will be lost. But Snippy has no defense at home. This is the beautiful thing. So he's adding an extra TC, he's still creating builds, he's trying to catch up there. But if Algernon makes anything, and makes any form of siege, he could go right into Snippy's base and go for Snippy's king. Now there's a few more things that we will see in this game, which is something only community game players would do. Only that experience from those diplomacy games and YouTube videos and streams would make you think of it, I guess. There's the chemistry upgrade. That's the big one for Algernon. He needs that chemistry upgrade. With the chemistry upgrade, he can make some bombard cannons. But my goodness. It feels like the game has slowed down massively, doesn't it? The game has got so much slower. Algernon is still housed. He is building a forward castle there. Snippy. Okay, he sent in karambits, and Algernon is housewalling out 2 karambit warriors. The skills. And Snippy realizes that and will trep down the house. This is great. This is great. The monastery is now down for Algernon. See, this is why I say be aggressive in low-level games, because low to mid-level players really struggle against aggression. Always depends, of course. Some players are better defensively, but I think it's working for Snippy, and he's getting elite battle elephant, which is so expensive. But if you're floating these kinds of resources, you can do it. Now, Malay elephants are the cheapest elephants in the game. They're also the weakest in terms of upgrades. But I think they're the best elephants because you can afford to make so many of them. Sure, they don't get the final 2 armor upgrades. Sure, they don't get the final attack upgrade. But I'll tell you what they do have after the elite is 300 plus HP. Who cares about those last 2 upgrades? So Snippy wants to snipe a king. He wants so badly to snipe a king. Now this is the problem when you're playing Regicide, as Algernon's going in for the snipe as well. This is just, it's I can't think for whatever reason, but this is beginning to be a beautiful, beautiful game and a bit of a base trade. Yeah, there we go. Algernon has just researched treason, which I've actually never seen before in a 1v1 Regicide Fortress game. but I also never cast mid-level Regicide Fortress games. Treason shows you where the enemy king location is, and I don't think Snippy was ever expecting this. At the same time, Snippy is running forward, and Algernon's king is inside that tower, so it's not only a bit of base trade that's incoming, but a king trade possibly. But what I was going to mention is, there's no hotkey when you're a player for your king, so you can forget about this thing. As a caster, there's a hotkey, and I can go directly to it. But unless you assign a number to that king, there's really no way to find it. Now, Snippy's on the move. He's played a few Regicide games in his day. So he's on the move. He also heard the noise of trees, and I guess that's a downside of it. Algernon is hoping the king is still there. But he's also destroying Snippy's eco. Snippy has no defense for his economy. But at the same time, the king is right there for Algernon. So, for both players, it's been a struggle over the last few moments. Ecos are falling apart, tons of idle time, they're housed. The score is very, very close. Snippy's running away with most of his farmers. He's making stables at home, hoping that elephants will be enough. And also, he could maybe make some siege here, but he's housed. Now, come on, Algernon. Algernon, you have to look for your king, man. You're going for Snippy's king. Where is your own king? It's right here. It's inside the tower. Now, this castle, that's probably going to go down. The siege workshop's probably going to go down. Everything that Snippy has in his base could go down. But Algernon could lose his king, or not, because he's on the move, guys. He's on the move. He got out of here just in time. He's making 2 castles to protect himself. And now Snippy has researched treason. Snippy, he probably knows the king is on the other side of these walls. Now, Snippy has some big concerns economically now. He's down in villagers. He could snag the relics. He really needs an answer to these arbalests. He doesn't have it. Elite Karambits could do it. But they're regular Karambit warriors. A bunch of elephants could do it, but he continues to lose houses. It's actually quite infuriating because pros make it look so easy, but the game is falling apart for both of them. There's so much going on, so sloppy. Again, I feel like so many people at home can probably relate to this. But Snippy is behind. He only has 16 military. It's not the strongest military. Algernon has almost fully upgraded Arbalest with rams and with trebuchets. Snippy's only chance, if he doesn't kill that army at his base, is to snipe that king, which is currently in this castle. So he's doing a great job of producing. He's just queued up more elephants. He has 20 elephants queued up. And maybe he could get lucky with the siege workshop. I do know that a lot of players at this level will put their Arbalest on stand ground so they don't run into TC fire. So that might be the only chance here. And Algernon definitely has his units on stand ground. He doesn't realize. And this is exactly what Snippy needed to get back into the game. Every single Arbalest dies. Now it's just a few rams and trebs. The elephants can deal with that. And Snippy is making his move again. He's trebbing down this castle. The castle goes down. And Algernon, he's probably scratching his head like, where's my army? I don't see it. What do I do? He's building another castle, which is very suspect. But if you're Algernon and you just go back to your base, you probably don't see it. What don't you see? The king! The king is right there! Snippy will kill the king if that king doesn't run away, and then he doesn't realize. He doesn't realize. Algernon goes down to Snippy in this crazy 1v1. Look at Snippy's economy. It's awful. He has maybe 5 farmers. He does have some gold miners. He does have some lumberjacks. But he has 2,300 gold and 130 food. His eco is so imbalanced. He probably would have dealt with the siege, and maybe he would have been able to balance his eco out a bit more. I do think that here the elephants could have killed the arbs. Snippy would have been better off if the game would have continued for another 5 minutes. But my goodness, man. It's fun to watch them struggle, but also it can be a struggle for me as well, to be honest. Poor Algernon. You know, he had this monk converting an elephant. So that tells me he just didn't know the king was there. He obviously knew the elephants were there. He obviously knew he was losing buildings, but he was trying to look around and do too many things at once. Now, when I spoke to Algernon about this, he was, to his credit, the one who actually came to me and said, hey, T90, I have a game you might want to cast for YouTube. Algernon did say that he won the best of 21 with a score of 11-3, I think. So I know that the other games aren't going to YouTube, and Snippy's going to get the glory for this snipe, but Algernon did perform better in the best of 21. I'm curious to see what YouTube's feedback is on this, because obviously you guys normally see high-level games. You normally see community games, which are more diplomacy, and then sometimes you see some specific YouTube-only casts. But very rarely do I do something like this, so I'm really excited to see the feedback, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I know it wasn't perfect. I know it could have been better for both of them. That's the beauty of it, and I hope you guys find it a bit relatable. Now, I have to bring up the achievements, so we're going to go to my out-of-game lobby screen. This is the night before my 24-hour stream, so I'm currently setting up everything I can. Okay, so nothing... Oh, hold on a second. I just don't want things to be spoiled. If I misclick this, I have to edit it out, and I'm lazy, says the guy who's about to stream for 24 hours. Yeah, there we go. 85 kills for Algernon. The economy was in favor of him. He had more wood, he had more stone, he had more gold. I loved the counterattack from Algernon. That was so sweet. Snippy struggled so much with that. But then Algernon struggled so much with what Snippy had at his base. 91% of the map was explored. These are pro statistics. 91% of the map explored when some of it's water. That's good. He had most of it scouted. More researchers than Snippy, but Snippy just went for the snipe. Algernon goes down in an interesting video. So again, guys, if you're watching this Friday night or Saturday morning or Sunday, anytime 3 days after the upload, I could be live on Twitch. I will be live at 7 a.m. EST on Saturday, and then I will be... 11 GMT or something, and then I'll be live for 24 hours. If you don't make it, that's fine. All the best stuff's going to go to YouTube, as it always does. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Hope you guys are hyped, and I hope to see you there.